Monica Hall eased her black Audi into the left turn lane at Broad and Belvedere, the city lights flickering off the slick pavement. A faint drizzle had passed an hour earlier, leaving the streets damp and glistening under the yellow glow of the traffic signals. Richmond was still moving at this hour. Pockets of pedestrians hurried toward late dinners. The hum of buses echoed from nearby stops, and the occasional siren cut through the summer night air. It was 8:45 p.m., and Monica was on her way home after a long Thursday at the John Marshall Courts building. The day had been a steady grind, back-to-back case reviews, an intense conversation with a junior prosecutor about withheld evidence, and the usual flood of phone calls that came with her position as the city's state attorney. She had stayed later than she intended, finishing a memo for a sensitive case. Now all she wanted was a quiet drive, a warm shower, and maybe one chapter from the novel on her nightstand. Her right hand tapped lightly against the steering wheel to the muted rhythm of the jazz station she kept on low. She glanced at the rearview mirror, more out of habit than concern, and noticed the headlights of a marked patrol car pulling into the lane behind her. Nothing unusual. Officers often cruised this stretch, and the intersection's red light camera had been acting up for weeks. The light shifted to green. Monica made her turn onto Belvedere, the patrol car following close but steady. She checked her speed, 28 and a 35, and kept her eyes ahead. The glow of the VCU campus signs blurred past in her peripheral vision. Then, in her mirror, the blue lights flashed. Her brow furrowed slightly. She checked her mental list. No speeding, no rolling stop, no expired tags. Her registration had been renewed just last month. No missed signals, no phone in hand. She slowed, signaling before pulling into the empty lot of a closed pharmacy, the tires crunching over loose gravel. Monica shifted into park and took a deep breath. She knew the drill: keep her hands visible, movements deliberate. Her fingers rested lightly on the wheel as the doors of the patrol car opened. 2 officers stepped out. One, a younger white man with close-cropped blonde hair, walked toward her driver's side. His partner, older with a broader build, hung back near the rear passenger door. The younger one's cheeks looked flushed, though whether from the warm night air or something else, she couldn't tell. Rolling down her window halfway, Monica kept her voice calm. "Good evening, officer. Can you tell me why I'm being stopped?" The blonde officer's eyes flicked toward his partner, then back to her. "License and registration, please." She didn't move immediately. "I'll get that for you," she said evenly. "But I'd like to know why I'm being stopped." No answer. The older officer shifted his weight, resting his hands on his belt, gaze steady. Monica exhaled through her nose, slowly opening the glove compartment. She retrieved her license and registration with careful, deliberate motions, keeping both hands in sight. The younger officer took them, glanced down at the card, then back up at her. We ran your plate, and it came back flagged," he muttered. "Flagged for what?" A pause. He licked his lips. "We're still checking that." Her voice sharpened just slightly. "So you don't know why my car was flagged, but you pulled me over anyway?" Neither officer replied. She felt her pulse in her throat, not fear, but a tightening anger wrapped in disbelief. "You realize I've committed no violation," she said, keeping her tone measured. "I wasn't speeding. My tags are valid. So unless you're detaining me for a specific reason," the younger officer cut in, "we're just doing our job." Monica looked at him for a beat longer, then reached back into the glove box, retrieving a second ID, a laminated card with the seal of the Commonwealth of Virginia and her title in clean silver letters, State Attorney, City of Richmond. The younger officer blinked, leaning slightly to read it. His shoulders stiffened. "Ma'am, we didn't recognize you," he said. "I didn't realize that should matter," she replied, her brows arching. A longer silence this time. The blonde officer cleared his throat. "We apologize for the confusion. There's sometimes a mismatch in the system when tags come back flagged." "I've heard enough." He handed her license back. "You're free to go." She didn't thank him. She didn't drive off right away either. She sat there for several seconds, the engine idling, watching the patrol car pull away before she reached for her phone. Opening the voice memo app, she spoke quietly into the mic. Thursday, August 8th. Traffic stop, no cause given. She hesitated, then added, I'm used to asking questions in court. Tonight I asked one on the street, and they didn't have an answer. She ended the recording, set the phone down, and pulled out of the lot, merging back into the slow flow of Richmond's nighttime traffic. At home, 20 minutes later, Monica slipped off her low heels and padded into the kitchen. She filled a glass with water, letting the coolness ease the dryness in her throat. The encounter kept looping in her mind. The hesitation, the lack of explanation, the flicker of recognition when they saw her ID. She didn't feel rattled exactly, but there was a weight pressing at her chest, not just from what had happened, but from the knowledge that if she hadn't been who she was, the night might have ended very differently. Upstairs, she set her purse down on the dresser and sat on the edge of her bed. The room was quiet except for the faint hum of the ceiling fan. She reached for her phone again, scrolling to the recording she'd made. Listening back, the silence between her questions and their answers felt louder than any raised voice could have been. Monica saved the file under a new title, Broad and Belvedere, Stop Number 1. Then she lay back, staring at the dark ceiling, knowing this wasn't the end of the story, only the beginning. The next morning, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee drifted through Monica Hall's modest kitchen. The early August sun spilled in through the east-facing window, casting soft gold across the small breakfast table. Monica sat with both hands wrapped around a mug, her elbows resting on the cool wood. She'd slept little. The events from the night before played on an endless loop in her mind. She had seen countless traffic stop reports in her career, some justified, others deeply questionable. But last night was different. It was hers. The screen of her phone lit up with a notification. Richmond PD, Public Affairs. She ignored it for now. Another ping followed, this one from her assistant, Tracy Cole. Tracy, are you up? Monica, yes. Tracy, you need to see this. Social media is already buzzing. A moment later, a link arrived. Monica tapped it, and a familiar intersection filled the screen. Grainy footage captured from someone's dash cam across the street. The caption read, "Anyone know why this car was pulled over?" Comments were piling in, most speculating, some defending the officers, others questioning the stop altogether. Footsteps padded into the kitchen. Evelyn Hall, Monica's mother, appeared in a soft blue robe, her gray hair pulled into a scarf. "You're up early," Evelyn said, her voice still husky from sleep. "Didn't sleep much," Monica replied. Evelyn poured herself tea, then sat opposite her daughter. "You want to tell me what's on your mind, or do I need to guess?" Monica hesitated, then said, "They stopped me last night. 2 officers. No reason. Claimed my plate was flagged, then admitted they didn't know why." Evelyn's teacup paused midair. "They didn't recognize you until I showed them my ID." Evelyn set her cup down slowly. "You reported it?" "I made a voice memo and requested the dash cam footage already." Her mother's eyes narrowed, a quiet knowing settling in. "You know what this is." Monica met her gaze. "I do." By mid-morning, Monica was walking through the glass doors of her downtown office. Tracy was already waiting, holding a folder and looking slightly uneasy. "I saw your post," Tracy said as they walked down the hallway together. "It's already up?" Monica asked. "Over 2,000 shares in under 3 hours. People are talking." Inside her office, a simple space with a wall of case files, her framed law degree, and a photo of her and Evelyn outside the courthouse, Monica set down her bag. Tracy handed over a manila envelope stamped Public Records Division, Richmond PD. "That was quick," Monica murmured, sliding the USB from inside and plugging it into her laptop. The screen came to life with dark, grainy night footage. Her own car appeared, headlights bathing the wet pavement. The patrol car's blue lights strobed in the background. 2 officers approached. Their words came through in muffled clarity. She listened, her brow knitting. There was no mention of a traffic violation, no probable cause, just casual chatter. "This plate's clean," one voice said, "but let's ask her anyway. Maybe she's hiding something." Monica paused the video. Her jaw tightened. She reached for her phone and scrolled to a familiar name, Mark Ellison. The investigative journalist had been a thorn in the side of more than one city department over the years. He answered on the second ring. "Monica, I was just about to call you," Mark said. "Your tweet's all over my inbox." "I've got dash cam footage," she replied. "You want it? Does it show what I think it does? Worse." "I'll be there in 10. Mark arrived carrying a worn leather satchel and the same press badge he'd had since Monica first met him years ago. His salt-and-pepper hair was wind-ruffled, his eyes alert but lined with fatigue. They sat side by side at her desk as the video played. Mark leaned forward, elbows on his knees, watching in silence. When it ended, he sat back slowly. "That's a problem," he said. Monica didn't answer. "Do you want to go public with this?" he asked. "I want to know what kind of system lets this happen to me," she said. "Because if it happens to me, it's definitely happening to people without a badge," Mark finished. She nodded. Tracy poked her head in. "Media's calling already. Do you want me to—" "Not yet," Monica interrupted. Mark closed the laptop. "You know they're going to push back. Let them," Monica said quietly. "Mine's not a narrative. It's a record." That afternoon, the Richmond Police Department released their official statement. The stop in question was conducted as standard procedure. An automated alert indicated a possible registration discrepancy. No misconduct has been identified. There was no mention of the lack of explanation, no reference to the dash cam audio. Monica stood at her office window, the folded statement in her hand. "They're brushing it off," she muttered. "Like it's nothing," Tracy said softly from the doorway. Monica took a deep breath, turned back to her desk, and reopened the footage. She replayed the moment the officer said, "Maybe she's hiding something." Her stomach turned. She minimized the window and opened her social media account. Uploading a 54-second clip from the dashcam, she typed no caption, added no commentary, and hit post. Within an hour, it had over 80,000 views. By morning, it had crossed 500,000. The comments poured in, shock, anger, praise for her composure, and a question repeated again and again. If they did this to the state attorney, what would they do to me? Monica set her phone down and sipped the coffee Tracy had left on her desk. The day was only beginning, and she could feel the air shifting, like the faint wind before a summer storm. The rain had cleared by midday, leaving Richmond under a soft, overcast sky. The city seemed quieter than usual, as if holding its breath. Monica Hall sat at her desk, reviewing case notes, when her phone buzzed with a call from an unknown number. She considered letting it go to voicemail, but instinct told her to answer. "Ms. Hall?" a young woman's voice asked, low and cautious. "Yes, this is Monica." "My name's—" "Well, I can't tell you everything right now. I'm with the department. I've seen things. About your stop. I can't talk on the phone, but I think you should hear this in person." Monica's pen paused above the legal pad. "Where?" "There's a small cafe on West Carey Street, corner booth in the back. Today, if you can." Before Monica could ask more, the call ended. By early afternoon, Monica was pushing open the cafe's glass door, the warm scent of brewed tea and cinnamon hitting her instantly. The place was cozy, with only a handful of customers. A soft jazz tune played from hidden speakers. She spotted the corner booth. A young Hispanic woman sat there, fidgeting with her keys, scanning the room. Monica approached. "Sophia Ramirez?" The woman nodded quickly. "Thanks for coming." Monica slid into the booth opposite her. "You said you've seen things." Sophia glanced around before leaning in. "It's not just you. We've got... It's not official, but it's real. A kind of mental list. Certain cars, certain people. They don't write anything down, but everyone knows. And your car, well, you were on it the minute you drove past them." Monica's jaw tightened. "So the flag on my plate wasn't real," Sophia finished. It's just what they say when they want to stop someone. From her tote bag, Sophia pulled out a small flash drive and slid it across the table. This is from our in-car system, audio from before they even pulled you over. Monica picked it up slowly. What am I going to hear? Sophia's gaze dropped. A couple of officers making jokes about you, your car, your background. Back at her office, Monica plugged the flash drive into her laptop. Tracy closed the door quietly behind her, sensing the gravity in Monica's expression. The audio file began with idle radio chatter. Then a voice she recognized, Ryan Keller, broke through. Let's run that one. Looks like someone's heading out of their tax bracket. A second voice, Paul Barrett's, replied with a chuckle. Bet she's headed home from court, feeling all important. Watch her try to lecture us, Keller added. These types always do. Then Barrett again, almost smirking in tone. She's black, wearing a suit, driving an Audi. That's bingo. Monica's hand stilled on the mouse. She didn't rewind it. She didn't need to hear it twice. Tracy's voice was barely above a whisper. They really said that? Yes, Monica answered, her tone steady but edged with steel. That evening, Monica met Sophia again, this time in a park, away from prying eyes and ears. The summer air was heavy with the scent of cut grass and the sound of cicadas. They sat on a bench beneath a wide oak tree. You're risking a lot, Monica said quietly. Sophia nodded. I didn't sign up to profile people. I joined to protect them, and I'm tired of looking the other way. Monica studied her for a moment. Do you have anything in writing? Anything that proves this list exists? No. That's the thing. It's cultural. Passed down in jokes, in who gets let off with a warning and who doesn't. But I'll testify if it comes to that. Monica reached into her bag for a notepad. Then we'll do it the right way. Sophia exhaled, a mix of relief and fear. If they find out I talked to you, they won't, Monica assured her. And if they do, you won't be standing alone. Later that night, Monica sat at her kitchen table, the flash drive still in her pocket. She pulled it out, setting it beside her coffee mug, staring at it for a long moment before opening her laptop again. She selected the file, copied it onto her hard drive, and typed a short email to Mark Ellison. You need to hear this. We go all in. Mark arrived the next morning, his eyes sharper than usual. They sat together as the audio played, Mark leaning closer to catch every word. When it ended, he sat back and shook his head slowly. This isn't just bad, he said. This is the kind of thing that changes cases. Or destroys trust, Monica added. Both, Mark said. You ready for what's coming if we put this out? Monica looked past him, out the window where the early light caught the edges of passing cars. Yes, she said, because if we don't, they'll keep doing it to someone else. That afternoon, she called Sophia one more time. I'm moving forward, Monica said. Sophia's voice was steady now. Then so am I. The day began with a phone call Monica Hall didn't expect. It was just past 8 a.m., and she was in her office reviewing briefs when Mark Ellison's name lit up her phone. His voice, when she answered, carried an urgency she recognized from years of watching him chase a lead. You need to see this, he said. What is it? Check your email. It's making the rounds already. Monica opened her inbox and clicked on the link Mark had sent. The video player loaded slowly, then burst into motion. Body cam footage from one of the officers during her stop. The angle was shaky, the lighting dim, but the audio was unmistakable. Officer Paul Barrett's voice came through, mid-stride toward the patrol car. She fits the profile. That was it. 4 words. But Monica felt them in her bones. The clip ended abruptly. She sat back in her chair, staring at the frozen frame of Barrett's shoulder disappearing out of view. Tracy Cole appeared in the doorway, holding a copy of the Richmond Times-Dispatch. It's already online, she said quietly. Monica closed her laptop. So it begins. By late morning, the city was buzzing. The clip had spread across social media, picked up by local stations, then regional, then national outlets. Outside the Richmond Police Headquarters, a small group of protesters had gathered, clergy, college students, neighborhood organizers, holding hand-painted signs. "If she fits the profile, we all do, and justice is not optional." Inside his office, Chief Leonard Hayes was feeling the pressure. That afternoon, he called Monica's office personally. "I'd like to meet," he said. "Your place or mine?" Monica asked, her tone even. "Neither. Neutral ground, no press." And they agreed on the Lemoyne Art Center, a quiet brick building tucked into the historic district, far from the courthouse and the precinct. Monica arrived first, choosing a shaded bench in the courtyard beneath a sprawling oak. She wore simple slacks and a navy blouse, no blazer, nothing that screamed official. Hayes arrived 5 minutes late, sunglasses hooked in his collar, shoulders set in the posture of a man carrying too much weight. "Thanks for meeting me," he said, lowering himself onto the bench opposite her. Monica didn't smile. "I'm here. Talk." Hayes took a slow breath. "I've watched the footage, all of it, heard the audio. What happened shouldn't have happened." "And yet it did," Monica replied. "I take responsibility for the department's failure to handle this properly." She studied him. "You take responsibility, or you're saying those words because they're safer than silence." He glanced away, jaw tightening. "I've been in this job 26 years. I've seen the system from every angle. I can't pretend I saw this coming." "That's the problem," Monica said. "You should have." Hayes was quiet for a moment. "There are good people in the department. Not everyone is Keller or Barrett." "There are good people everywhere," Monica said. "But culture doesn't come from them. It comes from the top, from what you allow to go unchecked." Another long pause, then quietly, "I want to change it. I just don't know where to start." "Then get out of the way," Monica said. He rubbed the back of his neck. "You're not pulling punches. I don't have time to teach grown men how to treat people with dignity." Finally, Hayes met her eyes. "I've already drafted my resignation." Monica tilted her head. "Voluntary?" "Let's call it mutual clarity." And before he left, Hayes offered, "Before I go, I want to implement something. Civilian oversight, internal culture reviews, bias training." "Starting points, not solutions," Monica interrupted. "Don't promise them like they're enough." He nodded slowly. "Would you help shape it?" "I'll give input," she said, "but I won't soften the truth." "Fair enough." That afternoon, Monica returned to her office to find Tracy waiting with an envelope. "This came through about an hour ago," she said. Inside was a single-page sworn statement. At the top, Officer Paul Barrett. Monica read aloud the first line. "I, Officer Paul Barrett, acknowledge that during the stop on August 8th, my behavior and language were unprofessional and driven by assumptions not grounded in evidence." She stopped there, her eyes scanning the rest silently. Barrett admitted to profiling her based on appearance, admitted to joking about her car and attire, admitted the stop was made without probable cause. Tracy's voice was hushed. "He came forward?" "Looks like it," Monica said. "No union clearance?" "Doesn't seem so." The news broke within the hour. Local media scrambled to cover it. National anchors read from the statement during evening broadcasts. For the first time in years, Monica saw a Richmond police officer publicly admit to racial profiling without deflection or euphemism. Mark called minutes after it aired. "I haven't seen anything like this. Ever," he said. "Word is, it was a combination of your interview, Sophia coming forward, and Hayes resigning that pushed him over the edge." Monica didn't respond immediately. She looked out her office window, the city skyline framed in the late afternoon light. "So it took all that for one man to admit what was already on camera." "Maybe," Mark said, "but a crack in the wall is still a crack." That evening, Monica walked the 2 blocks from her office to her car, the summer air cooling as dusk settled. Her phone buzzed with a text from Sophia Ramirez. "Saw the statement. Proud of you. Proud of us." Monica typed back, "This isn't over, but we're moving." The following morning, the city council announced they would convene an emergency meeting to discuss next steps. Community leaders were invited to speak. Hayes's resignation would take effect within the week. Keller had been placed on administrative leave alongside Barrett. Monica sat at her desk, hands folded, as the live feed of the council meeting played on her laptop. Citizens stepped up to the mic one by one, pastors, teachers, college students, some sharing personal experiences, others demanding systemic change. She felt a quiet resolve settling in her chest. The fight had shifted. It was no longer just hers. The email from Sofia Ramirez arrived before sunrise. Monica Hall opened it at her kitchen table, the steam from her coffee curling into the pale light of early morning. The subject line was simple: "You should have this." Inside was a single attachment labeled Internal Complaints, Richmond PD, 2019 to 2023. Monica hesitated for a moment before double-clicking. The file opened to a spreadsheet, rows and rows of cases, each with a date, the nature of the complaint, the officer's name, and the outcome. She scrolled slowly, her eyes catching on patterns almost immediately. Dozens of stops listed as tag checks or random stops, many late at night or in the early morning. Over 60% of the complainants were Black or Latino drivers. The neighborhoods repeated Church Hill, Blackwell, Gilpin Court, areas Monica knew well, places where trust in law enforcement was already thin. The outcome column told its own story, closed without investigation. No action taken. No further follow-up. Monica leaned back in her chair, letting the weight of it settle in her chest. This wasn't just about her stop anymore. It never had been. By the time she arrived at her office, Tracy Cole was already there, a large cup of tea in hand. "You look like you've been up all night," Tracy said. "I have." Monica set her bag down, then handed Tracy a flash drive. "I need you to back this up. Twice. Keep one copy in the safe." Tracy took it without question. "What is it?" "Evidence," Monica said simply. At noon, Monica sat across from Mark Ellison at a small diner near the Capitol. The lunchtime rush buzzed around them, clinking silverware and muted conversation filling the air. Mark scrolled through the spreadsheet on his tablet, his brow furrowed. "This is damning," he said. "It's not just you. It's systemic." "That's the point," Monica replied. "If I hold a press conference with this, they can't spin it as one bad night or one bad officer. You'll be burning every bridge you have with the department." Monica took a slow sip of her coffee. Those bridges were never built on solid ground. They set the press conference for the following morning on the steps of the Virginia State Capitol. Monica wanted no podium, no flashy banners, just her, the truth, and a stack of papers. The morning was bright, the kind of August day that felt heavy with heat even before noon. Reporters gathered in clusters, microphones in hand. Local residents lined the edges of the crowd, some holding handwritten signs. One read, "If she can't drive home in peace, what hope do I have?" Monica stepped forward, a folder in her hand. She scanned the faces before her, students, clergy, retirees, parents with young children. She cleared her throat. "My name is Monica Hall. I'm the state attorney for the city of Richmond. Many of you know about the traffic stop I experienced on August 8th. You've seen the footage, you've heard the audio, you know the words that were said. What you might not know is that this wasn't an isolated incident." She held up the folder. "These are internal complaints filed by residents of our community over the past 4 years. Your neighbors, your friends, your children. Over half of these were never investigated. They were buried." A murmur rippled through the crowd. "I've been quiet long enough," she said. She stepped back, signaling the end of her remarks. Reporters shouted questions, but Monica didn't answer. She turned, walked down the Capitol steps, and disappeared into the crowd. By that afternoon, the footage of her brief but pointed speech had aired on local and national news. Social media carried it even further. Former drivers who had once doubted themselves. Maybe I was overthinking it. Maybe I was speeding. began sharing their own stories. The Richmond City Council, facing mounting pressure, voted unanimously to open an independent review of all closed complaints from the past 5 years. The governor issued a public statement urging full transparency at all levels of law enforcement. Late in the day, Monica sat in her office, watching the sun sink behind the city skyline. Her phone buzzed. A text from Sophia. They're talking about retraining. Younger officers are pushing for it. Things are moving. Monica typed back, "Good. Keep me posted." For the first time in weeks, she allowed herself a small smile. The auditorium at the University of Richmond School of Law was packed. Not the usual kind of packed for a midweek panel, but full to the walls, students in the aisles, faculty standing at the back, community members filling any space they could find. Even a few retired judges were there, men and women Monica Hall recognized from her early days in the courthouse. Backstage, Monica waited in the narrow green room, sipping water from a paper cup. The low hum of voices from the auditorium reminded her of the moments before a trial. Tension and expectation braided together. She smoothed the fabric of her navy dress and thought of her mentor's words from years ago. "You don't have to shout to be heard. You just have to make them listen." The moderator, Professor Lyle Fenwick, appeared in the doorway. His sharp eyes softened when he saw her. "They're ready," he said. When Monica stepped onto the stage, the applause was immediate and sustained. Not wild, but intentional, heavy with respect. People stood, not because she was famous, but because she had stood for something when it mattered. She walked to the lectern, adjusted the microphone, and let the room settle into silence. "I didn't come here tonight to talk about a traffic stop," she began. The audience leaned in. "I came here to talk about what happens when truth makes people uncomfortable, when justice becomes personal, and when silence becomes a choice." Her voice was steady, warm, but edged with conviction. "I've spent my life reading laws, arguing facts, building cases. None of that prepared me for being seen as suspicious behind the wheel of my own car. None of it prepared me for the doubt, the chuckle, the assumption that I must have been up to something because I didn't match someone's mental image of safety." She paused, letting the words hang. "But what I've learned is this. Justice doesn't start in a courtroom. It doesn't start with an opening statement or a closing argument. It starts the moment someone in uniform decides who looks right and who doesn't, who gets the benefit of the doubt and who doesn't, who's worth a second glance or a second chance." A few students raised their phones to record, but Monica didn't mind. "Some people have told me I should have let it go, that it wasn't that bad. But when we excuse the small things, we make room for the big ones. When we normalize disrespect, we institutionalize danger." Her gaze swept the room. Faces young and old, some defiant, others thoughtful. "I'm not here for applause or pity. I'm here because it matters that we name what happens, that we call things what they are, even when it's uncomfortable, especially then." She leaned slightly forward, her voice softening but sharpening in focus. "To every young person here, studying law, dreaming of courtrooms, your job will never be just about arguing cases. It will be about seeing people, holding systems accountable, refusing to let quiet injustice pass under your nose. And if you ever find yourself asking, 'Why was I stopped?' know that you deserve an answer, not because you have a badge or a degree, but because you are a citizen and your dignity is not negotiable." The audience rose again, this time in unison, the sound of their applause filling the high-ceilinged room. Afterward, Monica moved through the crowd, shaking hands, accepting quiet words of thanks. She didn't linger. She wasn't there to be admired. She was there to leave something behind. Outside, the evening air was cooler now, carrying the faint scent of rain from the afternoon. She walked alone to her car, her heels clicking softly on the pavement. When she reached Broad and Belvedere, the same intersection where it had all started, she stopped at the red light. A patrol car pulled up alongside her. She glanced over. Behind the wheel was a young black officer no more than 25. He met her gaze and gave a slow, deliberate nod before the light turned green and he drove on. Monica watched his taillights fade into the distance, then pressed the accelerator, heading home. The story of Monica Hall is more than just the account of a single traffic stop. It's a reminder of how one moment can illuminate the cracks in an entire system. For the Black community in Richmond and in cities across America, her experience resonated because it mirrored countless others who never made the news, whose stories were quietly filed away without answers. Monica's decision to stand firm was not born of a desire for attention, but from a lifetime of seeing how silence can be mistaken for acceptance. She understood that change rarely comes from comfort. It comes from confrontation, from asking hard questions, and from refusing to let those questions go unanswered. Her case showed that when members of the Black community push back with evidence and persistence, they not only protect themselves, they protect those who may never have the same platform or title. The lessons here are simple but profound. First, dignity is not negotiable. Whether you are a judge, a teacher, a student, or a parent, your right to fair treatment should never depend on how you look, where you live, or what you drive. Second, accountability starts with naming the truth. Euphemisms and vague explanations only serve to blur the line between right and wrong. And finally, systemic problems require systemic solutions, oversight, cultural change, and the courage to challenge the norms that perpetuate injustice. For younger generations, especially those preparing for careers in law, Monica's story is a blueprint. It teaches that the courtroom is only one place where justice is fought for. The streets, the council chambers, the classrooms, and yes, the conversations at home are all part of the same battle. If you see something wrong, document it. If you hear something wrong, challenge it. And if you experience something wrong, know that your voice matters, whether you whisper or shout. In the weeks following her speech, Monica returned quietly to her duties. She reviewed cases, mentored interns, and continued meeting with community leaders to shape policies that might one day prevent others from facing what she endured. And while her name eventually faded from the headlines, the impact of her stand did not. In neighborhood meetings, in campus discussions, in the halls of the courthouse, her story lived on as both a cautionary tale and a call to action. For the Black community, her victory was not in a single resignation or a single confession, but in the shift it created, a shift in how people see themselves, how they expect to be treated, and how they hold systems accountable. It proved that change is possible when courage meets truth, and when one person decides that enough really does mean enough.